So my name is Katie. I have Dylan with me. Dylan is 6 weeks old. Dylan was born at QEQM Hospital. Um, and yeah, he's a lockdown corona baby. I think there's enough anxiety when you're pregnant, especially becoming a first time mum at the best of times. So that certainly added to the mix. It was definitely kind of anxiety inducing, not really knowing what the hospital was going to be like, not knowing how the policies and things might change, and what impact that might have, and then just your general kind of worries around safety and health and everything as well. Yeah, it was pretty daunting at the time. So I stayed at home as long as I could, kind of once my labour started progressing. Actually managed to stay home pretty long. So went in, and I think they thought I was, not too far into my labour, but turns out I was like ready to go right onto the into the midwife-led unit. I had a really positive experience overall. When I arrived at the hospital, it was just dead quiet, like nobody around. And the nurses and the midwives were really attentive and really supportive. I went onto the midwife-led unit and stayed there for most of my labour until right at the end when I was transferred to the labour ward. And even on the labour ward, when things started getting more complicated in my labour, and there were 7 people in the room at the end of it all. It was really quiet and very calm, and I actually had a really good experience. The midwives were absolutely incredible. Every new mum is going to be worrying because you want the best for your child. You want them to arrive safely. You want to be there with your birthing partner. And when things are changing and everything's so uncertain, it's totally understandable to worry. I think I would just say, you're going to be worried, but try not to let it overwhelm you, because there's so much that you could end up thinking about, end up catastrophizing about the situation. And actually, the majority of, births are going to go really well. And your experience most likely is going to be really good if you can kind of stay as calm as you can as well. So I think the key thing for me, what really helped was just being as informed as I could be. So even just things like, I asked some other mums who had been to QEQM to send me some pictures of the maternity ward, because I wanted to have like a bit of a picture in my head of what it looked like, because I hadn't managed to go on a tour of the facilities before the lockdown happened. So get as much information as you can. I went onto Twitter and was following the Royal College for Midwives. They were putting out some great stuff. There's some groups on Facebook which were really helpful in like East Kent maternity hospitals, like doing updates. That really helped me in keeping informed and just made me have a bit of an idea in my head of what I'd be walking into when I went to the hospital. I think the other thing is just to reach out to people having a similar experience. So mums having similar experiences, try and talk with them, because everyone will be feeling the same, and they can help, with your worries and your concerns as well. So I had Ewan, my husband, as my birthing partner, and he came into the hospital with me and stayed with me all the way through my time in active labour, which was the whole time I was on the maternity ward and then also on the labour ward. That was the bit I was most confused about before I went in, because I didn't really understand the difference between the midwife-led unit and the labour ward and the antenatal ward or the postnatal ward and all of this. But basically, until he arrived, he was with me, and then for quite a few hours after. So I was asking questions like, will he be able to get skin to skin time after the birth? Absolutely. Will he be there with me until I'm settled? Yeah, absolutely. So he stayed with me until I was on the antenatal ward, which was about 3 hours after he was born, and then he went home just overnight. So I ended up staying in hospital for that night and the following night. But Ewan was able to come into the hospital from 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening. So it was really just overnight that I was there without him. And that actually was fine, because although it was very daunting, first night in hospital on your own with this baby, what do I do? The midwives were really responsive, particularly at night time, even though they had to get, gowned up and put the masks on every time they came in. When I was struggling to feed him, and when I just, I couldn't get him up at one point because I was recovering and was really uncomfortable and was struggling to get him in and out of the cot. They came in and helped with that, and that was, so that was really great, and they were really helpful. So I managed to have him with me for a lot of the time, and then when he wasn't there, there were lots of people around to help. FaceTimed with my sister and my parents while he was in hospital. We were sending loads of pictures, obviously, at all hours of the night and day. Yeah, to help kind of show him off to everyone. I actually found that, I don't know that I would have been really comfortable having visitors at that point. I actually found being there, just me and him, and then Ewan, my husband, was really nice, because we just had some quiet time. You need quiet time to recover after that, your labor, and after the birth. You don't really want lots of people around. So I actually didn't mind that at all.